belief is that, well, Carrie was dear to us, as was Kim. When she was an infant going to the, what's the infant doctor? Pediatrician, thank you. Yeah, right. The report would come back that there was a failure to thrive. And we always used to, worry about that, failure to thrive. Geez, what does that mean? Well, I'm really glad to say that after all this time, we see that Carrie indeed did thrive and did indeed achieve happiness. Now, another element of Carrie that people probably don't really recognize that much is that she's very, very generous. In fact, once she even gave me a Ferrari. I think it was a 166 Barchetta. A long time ago at another wedding, I heard a phrase that I liked, and it was basically that when the children find happiness, the parents find true happiness. And that is the case today, where Gail and I have been blessed with the marriage of Chris and Carrie, and we do have what we believe to be true happiness. So that's all good. And I'm going to end now by saying that I wish Carrie and Chris health, continued happiness, and wealth. Nazdravia.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our next toast, please welcome up our matron of honor and sister of the bride, Kim Young.
Hi, everyone. First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight as we toast the joining and marriage of Carrie and Chris. It's been a privilege and great honor to stand up with Carrie as our matron of honor. The truth is, there's nowhere else I would rather be this evening than here celebrating the union of these two very special people with such wonderful friends and family. I can't think of a greater pleasure than being Carrie's matron of honor on her wedding day. Actually, being Carrie's sister all these years will always be at the top of my list, but honoring Carrie and Chris on this special day is right up there too. When we were younger, and still today, we couldn't be more different from each other. Unfortunately for me tonight, Carrie was much more gifted as an artist and a writer, and I'm the accountant that is terrible with words, so I'll keep this quick and we can all get back to what we came for, the party. So, as many of you know, Carrie's not just my sister, but she's also become one of my best friends. She's one of the kindest and most compassionate people I know. She's always said that she looks up to me as her big sister, but I think one of the things that she doesn't know is that I actually look up to her. She has the patience of a saint, which I can only watch and attempt to emulate. She is such a talented designer, and I love seeing her grow and mature into such a wonderful artist. She's a great tap dancer and has such a passion for dance that she's stuck with it for all these years. She's generous, kind, and treasures her relationships with her friends, her family, and even her dog, Luna. She's beautiful inside and out, and I'm so blessed and grateful to be her sister. Now, when Carrie introduced me to Chris, I couldn't have been happier. She had some interesting boyfriends in the past. So I was excited when she found a guy with a job, a house, and even a boat. I knew I had to try my best to like him so she would stick with this guy who was such a catch. But as it turns out, I didn't have to try at all. Chris has such a good personality and is so funny. It was impossible not to like him from the beginning, and I'd always hoped this day would come. Since then, Chris has truly become one of my best friends, and today I couldn't be happier to have him become my brother. When you watch your sister get married, your heart fills with joy and hope for her. As she turns and hands you her bouquet, you know that everything will change. I know that Carrie and Chris belong together, as sure as I know that our friendship will endure. Carrie, I wish for you what I know you will have with Chris, love and happiness. Chris, thank you for loving Carrie as much as we, her friends and her family, do. May you laugh, love, and always be each other's best friends. Love you both. Congratulations.
And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, please welcome best man, Mr. Mike Davidson.
Good evening, everybody. First off, I'd like to thank Kim. Go ahead and give her another round of applause for me. Thank you. I'd also like to thank all of you for coming here tonight. Chris and Carrie really appreciate having such a great turnout. I know they really appreciate having everybody out here. For those of you who don't know, my name's Mike, and I've known Chris since 6th grade. So that's been almost 20 years now. My earliest image of Chris was him walking down middle school hallways with, instead of a backpack, he had these 2 giant trapper keepers where he stuck everything into there. After seeing some old pictures of him yesterday, I think now that it was probably to distract everybody from how big his ears were. He grew into them. He grew into them, don't worry. I also remember he was the only kid in English class to lay out the entire script to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I've also grown up with Chris over the years. We've shared vacations. We've been to a bunch of Ravens games. We only left that one game early. We've been to over a dozen Nine Inch Nails concerts together. And we even paid $1,000 once to go to a meet and greet with the band. The only time I've ever seen Chris more nervous and happy than when he met Trent Reznor for the first time was earlier today. We've been to some weird clubs. We've been members of a weird club, and I won't elaborate, but I invite you to go up to Chris sometime this evening and ask him what an animal is. And I've even helped him move. And now, Chris, I have never seen more milk that had turned into yogurt than when we moved you out of Mount Vernon. So Chris and I have been through a lot, but he's kind of like the brother that I never had growing up. He stands up for his friends when they need it. If there was something tough that needed to be said, Chris was the one friend I could count on to say it. He forgives you when you need to be forgiven. I probably need to be forgiven after the speech. And he even got me my current job, and I think I'd probably still get a beer for that. So what more could you expect from a guy who proposes with an airplane? So when I had to pick a best man last year for my own wedding, it was a no-brainer. And Chris did a phenomenal job at it. And the point of all this is for me to assure you, Carrie, that I'm well qualified to say that you made a great decision. A quick side note for Carrie. We all know that Chris is a movie buff, so please forgive him once a year when the Academy Awards roll around and he makes you watch 5 movies like The King's Speech. Just picture him at his next country concert. So speaking of Carrie, so Chris is like my brother, that means you're like my new sister. I still remember when I first met Carrie. We were out eating dinner, it was a bunch of Chris's friends, and she was pretty quiet, understandably so. Chris has got a bunch of weird friends. So I didn't really know what to make of her at first. But as it turns out, she's just about the sweetest girl you're ever going to meet. Until you insult Kenny Chesney, in which case you'll find out that she is quite the little firecracker. But Chris and Carrie make such a great couple, partly because they're so different. They're so distinctly different, and it's that dynamic that's going to keep their marriage fresh long beyond the honeymoon phase. So I think you've both made great choices, and I'm extraordinarily happy for both of you. So I'd like to end here with 2 little pieces of advice. I haven't been married long, but the first thing I learned is that you 2 are on the same team now. There's going to be a lot of problems, not necessarily Chris's fault or your fault, Carrie. Sometimes, your basement's going to flood. The dogs are going to eat something that Carrie's been up all night designing and printing. Or maybe your car gets stolen. Who knows? I mean, the point is that as long as you 2 are there for one another, none of that stuff matters as much. So my last little piece of advice I'll pass down from my grandfather and my mother-in-law. They've been married over 100 years combined, so this is the more important advice. It's pretty simple, and I think you're halfway there. You might be there already. It's only 2 words. Separate TVs.